So got those border lines. So this is going to be, we're going to call this our lever sketch, or a level, sorry, our level sketch. So you can go ahead and get your everything filled out there on your title block. And then we're going to talk about some of the common mistakes made when we start to first sketch objects. So of course we've sketched we've done 2 different styles of the 1, 2, 3 block sketch. Pretty simple. Now we're going to kind of actually start to put a little bit more detail into our sketches as we go. So I'll wait for everybody to get their title block and their border lines on there before I get started. So. And we should be able to finish up just a few minutes early, so you guys should have some time to yourself at the end of the class to. So. All right, so here I have one of my levels, and this is what we're going to sketch on this sketch. Now, one of the biggest things, we're going to do this as a orthographic drawing. We're just going to sketch it from the front view. One of the big mistakes that people make when they're sketching, especially if we're just sketching a view, is oftentimes people naturally want to try to make it look 3D. We don't need to make this look 3-dimensional. We can convey all of the information and all the ideas that we need to on this just by doing a simple 2-dimensional drawing. Now, but we first need to kind of break this down and tell me what are the basic shapes, the basic geometric shapes that you see here. So what are we looking at? Because we're going to put all of these shapes, we're going to draw all these shapes on. So if we look at the overall outside of this, what would you say the basic shape is? So Mr. Dill, somebody from your corner of the room. So this one, I keep giving you guys the easy one. Triangle. The basic outside shape on this. What did you say, Mr. Dill?
Rectangle.
A rectangle, right. So I knew you meant rectangle instead of triangle, right? So we got the rectangle. Now, in addition to the rectangle, and I don't just have a rectangle on the outside, if you notice these little pieces of aluminum that are kind of protecting these edges, they kind of look like a rectangle here and a rectangle there too. So Mr. Welter, somebody from your corner of the room, what's about this? What shape would we call this here in the center? Oh,
an oval.
An oval. So we got an oval. So then, of course, over here we got 2 circles that need to be put in there, and of course on the ends we got these half circles or these arcs there as well. And then, of course, as we bring this in, we're going to also kind of do our little these little tubes that are in there for the vials as well. So we're going to start by drawing the rectangle. We always will start with the outside first. And remember, before I said when we do this, we want to try to, we're definitely going to maintain scale and proportion. So let's just talk about, if we look at this size right here. So how many times longer would you say this level is in comparison to my height here? So if we talk about the width of this, how many times wider is this from the height? I see 7 times. Anybody else see anything other? So I'm going to say roughly, and 7 is a good guess. I mean, it could be without putting it on there. I don't know, but I want to kind of keep this a little bit easier. So I'm going to say it's 6 times. So we'll say that this is like 1 to 6. That's that proportion relationship, that ratio there. So I'm going to start out, and again, we want to kind of make sure that this sketch is centered in the drawing, both centered this way and centered this way. So centered both horizontally and centered vertically. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to draw that line there, and we're going to go about 6 lengths over. So not quite exactly centered, but I'm pretty close. Again, it's a sketch, so it doesn't necessarily matter. So I've just sketched that rectangle. And since we're sitting there and saying, well, this is about 6 times over, so I'm going to kind of, just to help me maintain some of these proportions, I'm going to kind of split this up, and I'm going to put a couple of tick marks here like that, just to kind of represent and kind of help me maintain proportion of this as I go. Now, so my next rectangle, of course, is that little piece of aluminum that's up here. So I'm going to go, we're going to draw that right there like that. So, and I'm going to sketch this over here on the bottom. So again, so that gives you those. So we've got that put in there. Okay, now right in the center, we got that oval. I'm going to kind of come right in here off of my center marks. And I want that oval to be pretty equal on both sides. So, and I got a circle here and a circle here. Now, again, kind of getting this in here to sketch this out. And then I got my arc over here. That's like my finger grip, we'll call that. Now, so that kind of gives me most of the shapes there for that. However, I also want to go ahead and add my vials in there for the fluid there. That's helps me to determine whether this is level or not. So I'm going to go ahead, represent those with a line here. This one, of course, is horizontal. And there are 2 little black lines on that. And of course, that bubble, I'm just going to kind of put that bubble right in there in that center, like that. Over here, this one's a vertical line. So I'll do that vertically. So, and because of the way it's oriented, the bubble's up top here. So I'll just kind of color that in. And then this one is at 45 degrees. So put that in there like that. Get that in. And again, the bubble here is up top there as well. So now, again, hopefully you were kind of doing this as light sketches. Now go back and darken up your lines. So now you can go back in and kind of darken up those lines. And hopefully, as you look now, that should roughly look about the same. Again, it's conveying the idea here. The sketch should look and convey the idea. So as we have that sketch, hopefully everybody's able to look at that and say, well, that is definitely a level. I can tell that looks like a level. Okay. Now, also, as you're looking at this, so to tell whether your object lines are dark enough or not, so if you hold your drawing up, so say, Ryder, you hold your drawing up, Trey should be able to, from his position, see and tell what your drawing is. That should be dark enough. So Mr. Ridings is holding, I see his being held up there too. So Vaughn, you should be able to see and tell from your distance. exactly what it is. So that lets you know that your object lines are dark enough. So those should pop off of that paper and really be told that you can tell exactly what it is and see that. If you can't, then your lines are too light. Now, again, remember those projection lines and construction lines that we talked about, nobody should be able to see those except for you. So those should be really, really faint. We don't really want those coming through. We just use those to kind of give us a guideline when we're sketching of where to go. So, all right. So we have gotten all of those drawings taken care of and in there. So now we're pretty close to done, but I want to you guys have been great today. I really appreciate it. We've covered a lot of information and we've done it very, very fast. So we started out, you first met my friend One-Eye Jack, and you guys saw that you guys could basically do a simple cartoon sketch of One-Eye Jack just by putting some squiggle lines on paper. So, and of course we used, so what we know about cursive handwriting to spell out the word Joe to make my friend Joe here. Again, a simple sketch. So got that taken care of. We learned about the types of drawings. So we learned about perspective drawings. And now we've got 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective. So those are one style of drawing. So we learned about isometric, another type of three-dimensional drawing. So the isometric drawings. And while we realize and recognize that these represent 3 dimensions and are a way to show a 3-dimensional object, just like perspective, the difference here is that all of our lines are parallel with each other, as opposed to converging in and going with each other. So lastly, then, of course, we went through our orthographic projections. So, and then we did our different practice sketches. So you're going to hold on to all of these. These are going to go into your portfolio. So you got your isometric block, you got your orthographic block, and lastly, you've got your level sketch. So one last thing that you need to do before the end of today. So your level sketch, you're going to take a photo of it with your camera. So take a photo of that, then you can upload that to the assignment. There is that assignment for the level sketch in Google Classroom. So you will go ahead and take a picture of this, upload that, and turn that in on Google Classroom as your assignment. So that's where we're at for today. Does anybody, if you have any questions for me, let me know. So you guys were all great getting through this. So hopefully by the next class, and by this time I'll be pretty much getting ready for surgery. And I look forward to having use of my left hand back as we go. So anybody have any questions? How y'all feel? Give me a thumbs up if you think you're well on your way to becoming industrial designers and sketching. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks. I look forward to seeing you guys next class. You still have about 7 minutes left. So go ahead, stay in your seats. You can go ahead and use your cell phones. Just don't start texting significant others in other classes in case they're still working in their class. Stay in your seats. You can talk with each other. Try to stay kind of relatively quiet so that we're not interrupting. And of course, you guys will be able to go. Look forward to seeing you in next class. Have a great day.